Our movie begins with a 20-year-old young man named Venas, who is waiting in his car for his new stepmother to finish work so he can drive her home. His stepmother, Lavine, is beautiful, stylish, and very cheerful. She is also extremely sociable. We learn that his father is constantly traveling because he's a successful businessman who prefers to oversee his work personally. He has no children other than Venas, which is why he always spoils him. Before traveling, the father asked his son to take care of his new wife, fulfill all her requests, and obey her in everything. That's why Venas was waiting outside the company where she worked. Once Lavine finished her job, she ran toward him and kissed him when she saw him waiting. She treated him like her own son, then got into the car. At that moment, Lavine noticed that Venas was very sad and upset, which wasn't like him. She asked him to light a cigarette for her. We learn that Venas was heartbroken over a recent betrayal by his girlfriend, but he tried to remain composed in front of his stepmother, not wanting to show weakness. He couldn't bear the fact that his girlfriend had cheated on him. Lavine sensed his pain and gave him some advice. She told him to forget her and be more of a man, because no girl was worth his love. She asked him not to think about her again, calling her unfaithful and unworthy, and told him that thousands of girls would wish for someone like him. She asked him to promise not to call or speak to his ex again. Venas promised that he would never contact her again, even if she came back asking for forgiveness. He slowly began to feel better, laughed with his stepmother, gave her another cigarette, and they drove home together. Later, Lavine continued to joke around and keep him company to help him forget his ex in any way she could. Afterward, Lavine brought out a bottle of whiskey and asked Venas to drink with her, assuring him she wouldn't tell his father. Venas trusted her, so he started drinking. But he noticed she was drinking heavily. Then Lavine began to speak honestly and said awful things about his father. She confessed she only married him for money, that she didn't love him and in fact hated him, and that she had been forced into the marriage. Venas protested, saying his father loved her very much and tried to make her happy. She replied, "Your father bought my body with money, but he doesn't have my heart. My heart was with another man, but your father took me away from him. He paid my family a large sum to make me agree to the marriage. Sadly, my family cared more about the money than my happiness, and they pressured me into it even though they knew I loved someone else. We were about to get married when your father suddenly appeared and ruined my life. My lover was poor and couldn't stand up to your father." She went on to say that his father only loves money and taking what doesn't belong to him, no matter who gets hurt. She said she would never be happy with him because her heart belongs to someone else. She told Venas they live like any two people sharing the same house, nothing more, and asked him to keep everything she said a secret from his father. Venas promised he would. At the end of the day, they sat together in the garden, smoking and talking. The mood was nice between them, but at that moment, it became clear that Lavine had started to develop feelings for him. She looked at him for long stretches and began caring more about him. Then she told him her father had called to say he would be away for a whole week because of work, and said we should take this chance to live our lives. Let's go out, stay up late, and have fun to forget our problems. Venas replied, "What problems do you have? You have everything. Money, wealth, status. You should be the happiest woman in the world." She told him happiness isn't in money, but in peace of mind and being with someone you love. She said if he didn't come with her, she'd go alone. He agreed and suggested they go to the amusement park. They made plans to go. But Lavine said, "When you're with me, forget yourself entirely. Forget that I'm your stepmother. Don't ever think of your ex or mention her to me." She told him that she would make him forget her in her own way. At that point, Venas didn't quite understand what she meant. She was older and more mature, and her thinking was much deeper than his. It became clear that Lavine had fallen in love with him and was now desiring him. She started getting closer step by step, trying to make him forget his ex by any means necessary to reach her goal and compensate for the love and years she had lost. Venas was the kind of guy any girl would dream of. Temptation started to take hold of her, and she ignored the age difference, even though Venas was young enough to be her son. That night, Lavine prepared a romantic dinner. Venas was kind and innocent, behaving naively around his stepmother, but she began to look at him differently and tried to get closer. Temptation overcame her. but she pulled back at the last moment when she realized his heart wasn't with her. He was still thinking about his ex. She became very jealous and begged him not to think about her anymore. He told her, "I've forgotten her and I won't think about her again." But suddenly he burst into tears and said, "I just want to know why she cheated on me. Why did she leave me? What made her do this to me when I loved her with all my heart and wanted to make her happy in every possible way?"
Lavine got angry and told him, "Be a man. I'm here with you and I won't let you think of her again, but you must not destroy yourself." The next morning, she went to his room to wake him up. She joked with him, and then they went together to the amusement park, where they had the best time and truly enjoyed life. Lavine was incredibly happy being with him and treated him like a lover. He also felt very close to her and was happy, slowly forgetting his ex with her. As for Lavine, she wasn't afraid of what people might say. She behaved with him like any two lovers, completely ignoring the age gap. She began to live her life with him. The next day, they went to the beach together and swam side by side. Lavine took great care of him, and Venas became the most precious thing in her life. She grew jealous when anyone looked out or spoke to him. He felt like her boyfriend, and she didn't want anyone else to share him. She wanted him all to herself, especially since she lived with an old man who didn't care about her and only cared about money and wealth. Meanwhile, Venas was young and could give her a life full of love and help her make up for everything she had lost. Later, Venas told her that his father never called or checked on him. He said, "I don't know why my father treats me like this, even though I love him so much." She replied, "Your father only cares about money and power. He's forgotten me, just like he forgot you." Then she asked him not to talk about his father anymore and said, "Let's just live our lives together." When she noticed he was sad, she told him his father had called her and sent his regards. He told her, "Let him listen to you and do whatever you say, and if he acts out of line, call me." She reassured Venas that she had told his father he always obeys her and never causes problems. In the evening, they talked together about personal matters. During those moments, Lavine tells him that his father never gave her any of her rights, never came close to her, always avoided her, and never treated her like a woman with feelings and emotions who needs to live her life. She complained of emotional neglect and didn't know what to do. At that moment, Venas was surprised by how boldly she spoke. He then told her that he had an errand related to his father's business the next day, but he wouldn't be long, and asked her to take care of herself and not go out until he returned. Lavine felt incredibly happy at that moment because Venas had started to show concern for her. The next day, she listened to him and stayed at home, not going anywhere. Later, Venas's ex-girlfriend came to the house to ask about it, where she encountered Lavine, who couldn't stand her presence to begin with. Lavine began insulting and mocking her, saying, "You're the one Venas loved. This is the first time I've seen such poor taste. How could he have loved you after seeing what you look like? You must have loved him only for his money." Then she told her that Venas wasn't there and demanded that she stay away from him and never come back. She added, "You're a cheater, and you don't deserve his love." The girl replied, "I would never do that. I won't leave the love of my life. It was just a misunderstanding." Then she asked, "Why are you speaking to me so harshly?" and told her not to interfere in our relationship, raising her voice in frustration.
Lavine responded, "You stay away from Venas. Find someone else because you're not right for him. I'll find him a better girl." She told her that she had deeply hurt Venas, and he would never forget that wound, and that she had helped him forget her. Hearing that, Eris, his ex, was deeply hurt and left the house. That evening, his stepmother got dressed and waited for Venas to join her for dinner. She prepared a very romantic meal and wore a beautiful black dress. Then she asked him, "What did you do without me?" He answered, "I didn't go anywhere. I spent the whole day at home, because without you, the world has no meaning." Then she told him that his ex had come to ask about him and that she got angry remembering what the girl had done to him. She told her, "Don't come here again. Stay away from Venas. His life was ruined because of you. The wound you left was enough." Venas became furious and said, "Why did you do that? Who asked you to interfere in my life? And why didn't you call me to let me know she came?" Lavine also got angry and told him that he had lied when he said he had forgotten her and no longer thought of her. "You still love her," she said. He replied, "Who asked you to meddle in my life?" She said, "I only want you to be happy with a girl who deserves your love. Eris betrayed you. She's not a decent person." He shouted, "Why are you doing this to me? What do you want from me?" He then threatened her not to interfere in his life again. At that moment,
Lavine became even more furious because she had tried everything to push him away from Eris. In a fit of rage, she argued with him. He tried to defend himself, grabbed her forcefully, and threw her onto the table. He said, "I know exactly why you're doing all this, why you want to ruin my life. I understand everything now. I was trying to respect you for my father's sake and keep my distance, but you just won't leave me alone." After that, Lavine tried to calm him down. She told him that she loved him, was jealous, and didn't want to see him with any other girl. She started using sweet and romantic words to charm him. She got closer and convinced him to be with her, to fill the emptiness in her life with him. In that moment, she felt as if she had been reborn. And indeed, Lavine was overwhelmed with happiness. She couldn't believe what had just happened. But suddenly, Venas was struck with guilt. He felt he had betrayed his father and the trust he placed in him. He began blaming himself heavily for what had happened. After all, she was his stepmother, and it was wrong. So he left the house and spent the whole day outside. At the end of the day, he came back home feeling deeply sad and went straight to his room to sleep. But Lavine didn't leave him alone. She sensed his feelings and went to his room to talk to him. She tried to calm him down and said, "I love you, and I can't live without you. Please don't torture me like this." She once again succeeded in deceiving him with her sweet, romantic words and told him, "I'll give you everything you want. Just stay close to me. Stay with me." Venas gave in to her words once more, and they shared another intimate moment together, one that helped her escape her emptiness and feel alive again, even though he was young enough to be her son. Lavine was fully immersed in her fantasy with him, thinking only of her own happiness. She was ecstatic. But in that moment, Venas remembered his father and the trust he left him. He became furious and began shouting loudly. Lavine rushed to silence him, not wanting to ruin the moment or lose what she had longed for. After they finished, she said to him, "Please let this be our secret. Don't tell your father anything." Venas was in a state of shock, unable to believe what had happened, how he could do this with his stepmother. So he decided to leave the house. He could no longer look his father in the eye. Lavine began begging him not to leave, saying her life would collapse without him. Before he left, she told him she hated his father deeply. He was the reason everything happened. He never cared about her, never gave her any of her rights. And so, Venas packed his bag and left, choosing not to tell his father what had happened, knowing that his father loved Lavine very much. When Lavine saw him leave, she completely broke down, crying and sobbing uncontrollably because she had truly fallen in love with him. In that moment, she remembered her family and began blaming them because they were the reason all this had happened. They had chosen money and wealth over her happiness, destroyed her life, and took her away from the man she loved. And with that, the film ends.